New this morning, the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is set to place what's called a blanket hold on all U.S. Justice Department political nominees until he gets direct answers from the Trump administration on the president's plans to accept a luxury jet from Qatar for use as Air Force One. Let's discuss this and more with Democratic Congressman Richie Torres of New York. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. I know you've called this move a flying grift, your words, a flying grift, and have noted that the regime's ties to terrorist organizations like Hamas. President Trump himself has called Qatar a, quote, funder of terrorism. So what do you think is really behind this move?
It is influence peddling at its most outrageous and egregious. I mean, Donald Trump's $400 million presidential palace in the sky represents the largest gift that's ever been conferred on any president by any foreign government in the history of the United States. And it's outrageous and unacceptable. And just as troubling as the gift itself is the source of the gift, Qatar. As you noted, Qatar is a state sponsor of terrorism. It has a long and ugly history of financing a barbaric terrorist organization, Hamas, which has on its hands the blood of Americans. And it's a cruel irony that both Air Force One and Hamas are going to have something in common, paid for by Qatar.
The U.S. Attorney General, as you know, Congressman Pam Bondi, has given the move her stamp of approval. We should point out that Bondi previously worked as a foreign lobbyist for the nation of Qatar, earning about $115,000 a month. Do you believe it would be legal for Trump to accept this $400 million plane as a gift, and can Congress realistically do anything to stop Trump from accepting it?
There's no doubt in my mind that the president's influence peddling is not only unethical, but it's also unconstitutional. And he's violating the Constitution with impunity. I have no faith in the independence of the DOJ. The DOJ's independence has all but collapsed. Instead of enforcing ethics and upholding the law, the DOJ is putting its stamp on approval on a dubious transaction that's violating the Constitution. The Emoluments Clause prohibits any elected official from accepting any foreign gift from any foreign government, and we should send a crystal clear message that no one, not even President Trump, is above the law, let alone the United States Constitution.
Yeah, that emolument clause says a president cannot accept a gift like this without approval from Congress, and clearly Congress is not likely to approve such a gift. I want to quickly talk about the president's current visit to the Middle East. Despite the ongoing conflict in Gaza, the president is not visiting Israel on this trip. He's going to Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. What does it signal to you that Trump is skipping over a key U.S. ally like Israel in the region and not dropping by and visiting the government and the people of Israel in Jerusalem and elsewhere?
I feel it sends the wrong message. I mean, the United States has no greater ally in the Middle East than the state of Israel. The U.S.-Israel relationship is not merely a transactional or strategic alliance. It's a friendship built on common values. And I'm cautiously optimistic that the future of the Middle East does not belong to Iran and its empire of terrorism. It belongs to Israel and the Abraham Accords. And so we should be building on the momentum of Israeli-Arab peace in the Middle East. That, to me, is the best hope for moving forward.
On another sensitive issue, while I have you, Congressman, the Trump administration, as you know, is granting what's called refugee status and potentially a quick path to U.S. citizenship to dozens of white South Africans, even as it clamps down on refugee resettlement for people fleeing war and famine elsewhere in the region, in Africa and elsewhere around the world. What does that say to you about the president's immigration policies?
For me, it reveals that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have an ethno-nationalist view of America, an America defined not by creed but by color. The administration is hostile to every kind of immigrant except white South Africans, and I find that exception to the rule to be quite revealing about the true character of the Trump administration.
On Capitol Hill today, as you know, Congressman, House lawmakers are beginning votes on a package of spending cuts. As you know, Medicaid spending has been a target for some Republicans. Are there any changes to Medicaid you would support?
Well, I strongly oppose the Republican Party's more than $700 billion cut on Medicaid. You know, there's no congressional district in America that depends more heavily on Medicaid than mine. 67% of my district is enrolled in Medicaid. And people should know that Medicaid is not only health care for the lowest income, it is increasingly long-term care for the disabled and the elderly and the chronically ill. So make no mistake, these Republican cuts are an attack on the most vulnerable people in our society, the elderly and the vulnerable. I'm in favor of reforms that would make the program more efficient, but I'm not in favor of what the Republicans are doing, which is taking a machete to the most important safety net for the most vulnerable Americans.
Congressman Richie Torres of New York, as usual, thanks so much for joining us.